The Sterkfontein Caves in South Africa, a network of tunnels carved by time and water, are both a natural wonder and a hidden menace. Known for their complex underwater passages, they have attracted explorers from around the world, drawn by the thrill of the unknown. But in 1984, these caves would become the stage for a harrowing tragedy, one that would echo through the annals of cave diving history. Peter Verhulsel, a 29-year-old diver with a hunger for exploration, set out to conquer the depths of Sterkfontein. What awaited him beneath the surface was neither triumph nor discovery, but a slow and agonizing demise. Tonight, we uncover the haunting story of Peter Verhulsel, a man whose ambition led him into the darkness and whose final words, etched in sand, became a testament to love and loss. Peter Verhulsel was not a novice. At 29, he had years of diving experience and a deep fascination with the underwater world. To his friends and family, Peter was adventurous, driven by a desire to push boundaries and experience the extraordinary. The Sterkfontein Caves were a perfect challenge for someone like Peter. Their submerged passages, shrouded in darkness and mystery, offered the promise of discovery but demanded respect. For Peter, this was an opportunity to prove himself, to explore what few had dared to, and to add his name to the list of elite divers who had conquered these treacherous waters. The Sterkfontein Caves are part of South Africa's Cradle of Humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its rich history and fossil discoveries. But beneath the surface lies a different kind of treasure, an underwater labyrinth, beautiful yet deadly. These caves are notorious for their tight passages, sudden drops, and disorienting layout. Divers who enter must rely on a guideline to find their way back, an unbroken lifeline in a world of total darkness. But for those who ignore this rule, the consequences can be fatal. It was 1984, and Peter joined a 3-man team to explore the underwater passages of Sterkfontein. The divers prepared meticulously, checking their equipment, planning their route, and ensuring their guideline was secure. The dive began smoothly. The men moved as a team, their lights piercing the inky blackness as they descended into the depths. The water was cold and silent, the only sounds their steady breaths and the hum of their equipment. Peter, eager to explore, was the first to push ahead. Ignoring the guideline, he swam toward an unexplored tunnel. His teammates cautioned him, reminding him of the rules, but Peter was undeterred. For him, the lure of the unknown was irresistible. Peter's first mistake came early. Venturing off the guideline, he quickly became disoriented. The underwater passages all looked the same. Dark, narrow, and unyielding. Realizing his error, he managed to find his way back to the group, shaken but undeterred. His teammates urged him to stick to the plan, to respect the dangers of the cave. But Peter's ambition got the better of him. As the dive continued, he made the same mistake again, leaving the guideline to chase the promise of discovery. This time, he wouldn't find his way back. Separated from the group, Peter was now alone in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. The water pressed in around him, the darkness absolute. His air supply was limited, and every moment spent searching for the guideline brought him closer to exhaustion. Panicked, Peter swam deeper into the cave, hoping to find an exit or a pocket of breathable air. It was a desperate gamble, one that would lead him further into the labyrinth and away from safety. After hours of searching, Peter stumbled upon a small underwater beach, a rare find in the cave system. The pocket of air offered temporary refuge, allowing him to breathe without his equipment. For a moment, there was hope. But the reality of his situation soon became clear. He was too far from the entrance, his oxygen reserves were depleted, and he lacked the strength to navigate back through the underwater passages. Trapped and alone, Peter began to accept his fate. When Peter Verhulsel failed to resurface, his teammates knew immediately that something had gone wrong. Cave diving is an unforgiving pursuit where every minute counts and the margin for error is razor thin. The call for help was swift, and soon a large-scale search operation was underway. The Sterkfontein Caves, already a formidable challenge to explore, now became a race against time. Divers, rescue teams, and local authorities worked tirelessly, driven by the faint hope that Peter might still be alive. But the reality of the task ahead was daunting. The cave system was vast and complex, with hundreds of narrow passages, blind turns, and dead ends. Visibility was near zero, the water icy and unforgiving. Even for the most skilled divers, navigating Sterkfontein was a battle against nature itself. Despite these challenges, the rescuers pressed on. Each dive into the caves was fraught with risk. The divers knew they were putting their own lives on the line, but the thought of leaving Peter behind was unthinkable. Over the course of 6 weeks, the search teams explored every reachable corner of the cave system. They came close, painfully close. On one dive, they passed within 40 yards of Peter's location, separated only by a wall of rock and water. But in the chaos of the search, he remained hidden, trapped in a pocket of air that offered a fragile sanctuary. Deep within the Sterkfontein Caves, Peter had found a rare lifeline, a small air pocket above the waterline. For a moment, it must have seemed like salvation. Here, he could remove his regulator and breathe freely. Here, he could rest, his exhausted body seeking relief from the relentless cold. But this air pocket, though vital, was also a cruel illusion. It was not a path to safety, but a dead end, a final refuge in a cave that offered no escape. Peter's oxygen reserves were depleted, and without them, he could not navigate back through the submerged tunnels. The days passed slowly. Alone in the darkness, Peter faced a reality few of us can imagine. The silence was absolute, broken only by the faint drip of water and the sound of his own breathing. The cold was unrelenting, sapping his strength with each passing hour. He had no food, no light, and no way of knowing if help would come. Yet even in these conditions, Peter held on. For 3 weeks he survived, clinging to the hope that rescue was possible. His will to live was extraordinary. Starvation and dehydration took their toll, and the cold seeped into his bones. He must have known in those final moments that his time was running out. But Peter was not alone in his thoughts. As his strength faded, his mind turned to the people he loved most, his wife, Cheryl, and his mother. Using what little energy he had left, Peter etched a message into the sandy floor of the air pocket. "I love you, Cheryl and Ma." These 5 words, written with trembling fingers, were his last act of connection, a final expression of love to the 2 women who meant everything to him. The rescuers above were engaged in their own struggle. Every dive into the caves was a grueling test of endurance and skill. The divers worked in shifts, navigating the labyrinthine tunnels with painstaking precision. The physical toll was immense. The water was freezing, and the narrow passages forced divers to contort their bodies in ways that left them bruised and battered. After 6 weeks of relentless searching, the rescuers finally found Peter. His body was lying peacefully in the air pocket, his diving gear removed, his message in the sand still visible. For the divers who found him, it was a moment of profound sadness. They had hoped to bring Peter home alive, to reunite him with his family. Instead, they were left with the task of recovering his body, a somber reminder of the risks they all faced. The message he left behind was a source of comfort and heartbreak. It spoke of his love, his courage, and his humanity. Peter's tragedy highlighted the importance of preparation and caution in extreme environments. As we remember Peter, let us honor his spirit of exploration and his enduring love for his family. And let his story inspire us to pursue our dreams with courage, but also with respect for the forces we seek to understand. If Peter's story has moved you, Share it. Let it serve as a reminder of the beauty and danger of exploration and the importance of preparation and respect for the unknown. Stay safe, dive responsibly, and never forget the lessons of the Sterkfontein Caves.